Louis XII, then still Duke of Orléans, was first married at the age of 14 to 12-year-old Joan, the daughter of King Louis XI of France. She was a sickly, hunched-backed, and limping girl. It was destined to be a quiet marriage, unlikely to be blessed with children, something Louis XI welcomed, as it would prevent the rival Orléans branch from claiming the crown. The bride's health made having children impossible. The marriage lasted more than 20 years. Joan had a kind heart, deeply loved her husband, and supported him even when he was imprisoned. Yet, as soon as Louis XII ascended the throne, he rushed to annul the marriage, claiming they had never had marital relations. This was untrue, but Pope Alexander VI Borgia sided with the king. In this episode, we'll share some of the most bizarre, grim, and amusing marriage stories of Europe's rulers. You'll hear how a vengeful lawyer took revenge on the King of France for cuckolding him, how the ruler of Tuscany tested his bride's chastity, how refusing to marry cost a French king his life, and finally, how Henry VIII rid himself of an unloved wife. But first, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss our new videos. How a cuckolded apothecary took revenge on the King of France. In 1514, 19-year-old Francis of Valois married 14-year-old Claude of France, daughter of none other than Louis XII. The groom was tall, handsome, athletic, strong, and agile like Hercules. His bride, however, suffered from scoliosis, walked with a limp, and was cross-eyed. Her appearance shocked the Spanish ambassador attending the wedding so much that he openly called her ugly. But Francis cared little about his wife's looks. What truly mattered was that Louis XII had no male heir, and Claude was his eldest daughter. According to the Salic law, women could not rule France. This meant the Duke of Valois would gain the Duchy of Brittany through his wife, and after his father-in-law's death, he would inherit the French crown itself. "In this person I find nothing attractive," Francis wrote to his sister, Marguerite, "but there is no need. I accepted this little creature for reasons of state. For love, there will always be other women, and I am never short of them. I shall have plenty of time to pluck roses each evening in the garden of love." One of those roses was Jeanne de Dizy, the wife of lawyer Dissaume. Even after his marriage, and later coronation just a year later, Francis saw no reason to give up his mistresses. In fact, the writer Brantôme claimed the king believed every nobleman should keep a lover and looked down on those who did not. Francis's affair with Jeanne had begun before his wedding and continued afterward. His sister Marguerite of Navarre, one of France's earliest women writers, recorded a tale of their romance. One night, the young king slipped into his lover's home through a neighboring monastery, pretending to come there to pray. According to one version, lawyer Dissaume simply pretended not to notice his wife's infidelity. But another account tells a far darker story. Upon learning of the affair, the enraged husband deliberately contracted syphilis from a brothel, planning to pass it to the king through his unfaithful wife. In later years, rumors swirled at court that Francis I died in 1547 from syphilis, and that the disease may also have caused Claude's early death 10 years into their unhappy marriage. She passed away at just 24, having borne him 7 children. A pearl among women, a soul of pure kindness,
All mourned her sincerely, Brantome later wrote of the Queen's tragic end.
How the ruler of Tuscany tested his bride's virginity. Ferdinando de' Medici, the younger son of Cosimo, Grand Duke of Tuscany, was destined for a church career. By the age of 14, he had already been granted the title of cardinal, despite being a layman. But the sudden death of his elder brother, who left no heir, placed the throne within his reach. Seeking to secure the Grand Duchy's political independence through a powerful marriage, Ferdinando chose his distant cousin, Christina of Lorraine, granddaughter of the French queen, Catherine de' Medici. After her mother's death in 1575, Christina was raised by her grandmother in Paris, at the most decadent royal court in Europe. The wedding, held in Florence on May 3, 1589, was an extravagant spectacle. Christina brought with her a lavish dowry, the rights to the Duchy of Urbino, and 6,000 scudi, large silver coins widely used in the Italian states from the 15th to the 19th century. But before the wedding night, according to contemporary writer Brantome, Ferdinando wished to make absolutely certain that his French bride was still a virgin. The Grand Duke ordered her to urinate into a beautiful chamber pot made of clear crystal. Together with the court physician, he examined the contents to determine whether she was untouched. The doctor studied the liquid carefully and, using the medical wisdom of the day, declared the young woman as pure as when she had emerged from her mother's womb. He assured the Duke he could proceed confidently to his marital duties and that the path would be untrodden. Ferdinando did exactly that, and by morning, overjoyed, he proclaimed, "A great marvel! From the most licentious court in France, the girl has come to me a virgin." When a deadly enemy is a scorned lover. Henry III, grandson of Francis I, was considered the most handsome and beloved son of Catherine de' Medici. He was short, delicately built, with fine facial features and a pleasant smile on thin lips. His path to the French throne seemed unlikely. He could only inherit the crown after the deaths of his two elder brothers. But his devoted mother tried to secure him a royal title through a powerful marriage. First, she considered Elizabeth I, the famous Virgin Queen of England, though she was 18 years older than Henry. Next came Princess Anna Jagiellon, a full 28 years his senior, whose hand was a condition for becoming King of Poland. There was also Catherine, daughter of the mighty Francois, Duke of Guise, a girl Henry's own age, ambitious and determined to win his heart. But Henry rejected her, obeying his mother and elder brother, King Charles IX. Henry departed for Poland, where he became king of the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth. Yet he delayed marrying Anna Jagiellon. When news reached him of his brother Charles's death, Henry abandoned Poland, returned to France, and married Louise of Lorraine, a princess from the house of Vaudemont. Catherine de' Guise, now a spurned woman, would prove a dangerous enemy. Married to the elderly Duke of Montpensier, she never forgave Henry for dismissing her. Soon, she became a leading inspiration for the ultra-Catholic opposition, the driving force behind every conspiracy against the king, a ruler hated by Catholic hardliners for his tolerance toward Protestants. Anonymous letters, pamphlets, and biting caricatures flooded Paris. Henry himself seemed to provoke public outrage.
Rumors spread of his minions, and he shocked many by appearing at masquerades dressed in women's clothing. In 1588, after Paris, stirred up by the ultra-Catholics, revolted against the monarchy, a royal messenger came to Madame de Montpensier. He told her that Henry III blamed her for all his troubles and intended to have her burned alive. She replied coldly, "Those who commit the sin of Sodom end their days in flames, like Henry will." On August 1st, 1589, King Henry III was assassinated by a fanatical monk. The man who brought the news to the Duchess was received as a hero. She embraced and kissed him, exclaiming, "Ah, my friend, welcome! Tell me, is it true? Is that villain, that traitor, that tyrant really dead? Oh God, how you have comforted me! My only regret is that he did not know, before dying, that it was I who had him killed." Historians have reason to believe she truly may have played a part in the king's murder.
The Great Flanders Mare. King Henry VIII of England was married 6 times. To remember the fate of each wife, British schoolchildren learn a grim little rhyme. Divorced, beheaded, died. Divorced, beheaded, survived. Henry's sinister reputation was so notorious among Europe's royalty that it became hard for him to find a noble bride. Fearing for her life, Christina of Denmark turned him down outright. Another candidate, Mary of Guise, Queen of Scotland, reportedly replied to his proposal, "I may be tall, but I have a short neck." After the death of his third wife, Jane Seymour, in 1537 from postnatal fever, having finally given him the long-awaited son, Henry was no longer the dashing young monarch. He was now an aging, heavy-set man, plagued with numerous ailments. Still, he sought another wife who might provide him with an additional heir. But even long before the invention of Tinder, there was a problem as old as courtship itself: the difference between expectations and reality. In choosing Anne of Cleves, Henry relied on her portrait, a painting of a gentle, lovely maiden. The artist, however, had not captured the reality: a tall, broad-shouldered woman whose size could rival that of her massive fiancé. Smitten with the image, Henry sent an official delegation to escort the original to England. But when Anne arrived in January 1540, the king was horrified. After their first meeting, he reportedly exclaimed to those present, "What is this? A great Flanders mare? God help me, I cannot bear to look at her." Still, Anne fared better than most of Henry's wives. Within 6 months, the king divorced her, granted her a generous allowance, and even maintained a friendly relationship thereafter. As a historical side note, Raymond, Count of Provence, had 4 daughters, all of whom became queens of England, France, Germany, and Sicily. None remained idle in political life. Their intertwined fates and the turbulent world of the 13th century are the subject of American medievalist Nancy Goldstone's book, 4 Queens.